Hey, what's up? Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the books that I acquired in the months of May and June. Now, the reason I have combined this summer book haul is actually because I have not been buying books lately. I only bought 4 books in the month of May and 0 in June. But as you can see by the thumbnail, I obviously still acquired a lot of books in the last 2 months because this haul is over 20. So just keep that in mind if you're ever feeling some type of way because some booktubers haul so many books every month. It's not even sustainable for myself, and it's because I'm really grateful to get a lot of books sent to me by publishers and even some of you guys. First book of the haul was sent to me unsolicited from Macmillan, and that is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. We Hunt the Flame is an ancient Arabian-inspired fantasy about a hunter who must disguise herself as a man in order to feed her people, and the son of the sultan who is an assassin who must never show compassion. The two of them are sent on the same mission to receive a lost artifact, but for different reasons, and along the way they stir up an ancient evil, and it just sounds like such a rich, vivid fantasy. I've heard some awesome hype leading up to the release of this book. It just sounds very intriguing, and I can really see myself getting attached to the characters and the storyline, so it's one I'd really like to pick up soon. I have been very excited to talk about this book because I have not seen anyone on BookTube mention it ever, and it is like the first book in years that I have walked into a bookstore knowing nothing about, been intrigued by the cover, and just like had to walk out of the bookstore with it. I am so deep into the young adult book world that it is so rare for me to stumble across a new release that really interests me that I have never heard about before, but I could not resist picking up a copy of Forward Me, Back to You by Natalie Perkins. This cover was so striking, it drew me in immediately, and then I read the synopsis and I was just enchanted, and so I'm super pumped to read it. So this book follows the teen jiu-jitsu champion of Northern California and a boy who is adopted from an orphanage in India, and the two of them meet on a summer service trip to Kolkata in order to work with survivors of human trafficking. So it appears to be a really profound story about violence, healing, and growth. It is by the same author of You Bring the Distant Near, which is another book I've kind of had on my radar for a while, but I just feel like I'm going to have so many emotions about this book, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. So if you are as well, I'd highly recommend picking it up and letting me know what you think. Now, that day I was at Barnes & Noble, I actually picked up another book because there was a pretty good bargain deal, so I decided to get The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This is an adult psychological thriller that involves a sort of love triangle between 3 people. I don't really know much about it beyond that. The reason I've been interested in this book is because I read these authors' other book, An Anonymous Girl, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a super interesting and entertaining thriller, so I wanted to pick up another one of their works as my friend Alexis really recommends this one. I can sort of feel myself building up to another thriller mood coming on, maybe sometime later this summer, so it's definitely one I plan to get to soon. In the month of May, I got to hang out at the HarperCollins office to film a super fun author video that I think you guys are really going to enjoy, so keep an eye out for that. Speaking of HarperCollins though, I will be attending both days of Epic Reads Day in New York City this year on July 18th and 19th. So if you're in the area and are interested in spending the day in a publisher's office, meeting a ton of cool authors, and getting a huge amount of books, I'd really recommend checking out the link to Epic Reads Day in the description. But I got a couple of books that I was really looking forward to while I was there that I'm super pumped to show you. First up, I have With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo, which is about a Latinx girl named Imani who is a teen mom and has a massive passion for cooking. I think a lot of you know that I did already read this book during a reading vlog from May, and I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I would highly recommend you pick it up if you were in the mood for a contemporary novel this summer. Elizabeth Acevedo's writing just makes me feel like gooey inside. It is some of the most impressive prose to be published in YA as of late, and I just found the characters so lovable, and the plot and the growth throughout it was really wonderful. So I have read this one and I would highly recommend it. Next up I have On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, which is a sort of spin-off novel to The Hate U Give. This is about a black girl named Brie who wants to be a famous rapper, but she ends up going viral for all the wrong reasons, and she's sort of portrayed in the media as a menace. So it's all about her coping with that and some family issues that she has going on as well. I absolutely adored The Hate U Give. It was on my favorites list of 2017. It is one of those books that is like absolutely worth all the hype you hear about it. So I've been truly anticipating Angie Thomas's sophomore novel, and I'm super pumped to pick it up. And then the final book I got at the HarperCollins office is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. I have been dying to get my hands on a copy of Heroine. After I read The Female of the Species earlier this year, I really loved it, and the concept of a young adult novel following a main character who has a drug addiction just really intrigues me. So this story follows a girl named Mickey who is sidelined from her softball season after a car accident and inevitably becomes addicted to painkillers. Addiction is a subject very close to my heart, so anytime I come across a book that I believe is going to handle it in an appropriate way, I'm like, gimme, gimme, gimme. I have very high hopes for this one, so I'm super excited to let you know what I think. Now in May, I went to my local library and they have a section where they sell books that are no longer a part of their collection for really cheap. So as I was leaving, like 3 minutes before the library closed one night, I found this gold mine, which is the Twilight graphic novels. I had found these two that night, and because when I had come up to buy them, the register was already closed, the librarian was like, just take them, they're yours, which was very kind of him. But later that night, I realized my dumbass only bought volume 2 of the Twilight graphic novel and not volume 1. I thought there was only like one graphic novel per book. But there had been another Twilight graphic novel book on the shelf, and I just assumed it was a duplicate of the one that I picked up. So I went back the next day and I got volume 1. So now I have all 3 of these Twilight graphic novels, and I just thought they were so funny. Like, I saw them and I was like, I need to have these. The Twiheart in me has risen. In the month of May, I got to go to 2 book signings in addition to Book Expo. The first was for Nexus by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. This is the sequel to Zenith, which is a sci-fi story about an intergalactic girl gang of space pirates as they get into a bunch of adventure and hijinks. Sasha is a good friend of mine, so you may keep that in mind, but I did enjoy Zenith. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and I have been anticipating reading Nexus. I heard really good things about the Zenith audiobook, so I've been considering picking up Nexus in that format, and with the ending of Zenith, which I loved so much, paired with like the fact that they go to like this icy planet and there's all these different creatures in it, makes me really interested in picking it up. And I had another good friend of mine release a book in May, and that is Again But Better by Christine Riccio. I am confident you have heard about Again But Better. It is about a girl named Shane who travels to a study abroad program in London after she wants to do over her college experience. I have read Again But Better and I really enjoyed it. This is a book that I gave 4 out of 5 stars. It was just so fun and entertaining, and I feel like I just have like such a strong emotional bond to this book because it reminds me of the exact story I would have wanted to read when I was 17. I have such a strong love for England, and Again But Better just tapped into that in the most fulfilling way possible, so I really enjoyed it. And if you think that Again But Better is something that might be your cup of tea, I definitely think you should give it a try. In May, I actually filmed another pretty cool video collaboration with an author, and it was for the release of Girl Gone Viral by Arvin Amati, so thank you so much to Penguin Teen for giving me a copy. I filmed a video where my Instagram followers controlled Arvin for a day, and it was super fun, like literally one of my favorite New York City style videos I filmed in a long time, so if you want to check it out, I'll link it in the description. Girl Gone Viral is all about a girl named Opal who is a coding prodigy and attends a special tech school where she is entering a contest to meet the founder of the world's largest virtual reality platform because she believes that the founder has something to do with her dad's disappearance. Girl Gone Viral is actually another book that I've already read, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. If you are someone like myself that really loves a good low science fiction, speculative, near futuristic book, I feel like Girl Gone Viral is definitely what you're looking for. It has really compelling characters and a lot of themes of technology and truthfulness. definitely not my favorite book I've ever read from this genre, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading it, so if this is the type of book that you're looking for, I totally recommend you put this on your reading list. Next book in this haul was sent to me unsolicited by Simon Teen, and that is Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brannon, Maureen Johnson, Kelly Link, and Robin Wasserman. This is the newest short story collection from Cassandra Clare's world of shadow hunters, and it follows a character named Brother Zachariah and his experiences with the shadow markets, which are places for downworlders to congregate all across the world. I read the majority of these stories as they were being electronically published every month back in 2018, but as of June, I actually did finish the 2 new novellas that are included in the final print edition, and I believe I've settled on a rating of 4 out of 5 stars for Ghosts of the Shadow Market because it has like some of my absolute favorite novellas that I've read from Cassie Clare, but also some of my least favorite. There's not much I can say about this book because like it is so deep into the Shadowhunter world that almost anything is a spoiler, but I will tell you which stories I enjoyed the most and which ones I enjoyed the least. So my favorite novellas have to be number 1, Every Exquisite Thing, which follows a character named Anna Lightwood who is genderqueer and lives in Edwardian London, and then also The Wicked Ones, which follows a character named Celine and it takes place in Paris. Oh my gosh, they were so good! Now my least favorite ones, I did not like Learn About Loss or A Deeper Love. Overall though, really interesting collection of stories. If you were into the Shadowhunter world, I highly recommend you pick it up because not only does it give you lots of insight on things that are a little bit more complex from the already published Shadowhunter books, but we get a lot of foreshadowing for things that are going to happen in the upcoming series, which is starting with Chain of Gold next March. So today we are breaking the record for the most copies of City of Bones I have ever shown in one singular book haul. There's 4 of them. The first is from Yuval and Natalie, who both sent me a copy of City of Bones in Hebrew. Then I have the Brazilian collector's edition of City of Bones and City of Ashes, which comes in this gorgeous turquoise and holographic cover with runes all over it. Then I have the Slovenian edition of City of Bones, which was sent to me by Julia with some other goodies from Slovenia, which was really cool. This is actually my first foreign edition of City of Bones that has the new cover on it instead of the old ones or a different one, which is really interesting. Finally, I have the Spanish edition of City of Bones, which apparently in some countries was published with the cover of City of Ashes, which is really, really interesting, and this was sent to me by Karla. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to the 5 of you who decided to send me these absolutely amazing copies of City of Bones this month. It is always such a pleasure to get to know you guys more through the letters and gifts that you send me, and especially when I get to learn more about your culture or country when I get a copy of my favorite book. Next up this June, I got to partake in a very exciting book trade for myself. I am not a big books for trade person on Twitter, but I do like to scroll through and see what people are offering up every once in a while. Books for trade isn't really my scene because a lot of people are like, thanks, but I'm only interested in trading if you have the UK special edition signed manuscript of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo that's been sealed in an airtight box for a century and drowned in the tears of her readers. But every once in a while, it allows me to get my hands on an advanced reader copy of a book I really love. So this month I traded for an arc of Renegades by Marissa Meyer that is also actually signed by her. You guys already know that Renegades is one of my absolute favorites. It is a futuristic science fiction series about superheroes and supervillains, and it is one of the greatest books I've ever read in such a long time. I never got a galley of Renegades before the release, but I just really love having the advanced reader copies in my collection for books that are super special to me. So I have just been like silently and patiently scrolling on Books for Trade since I first discovered Renegades and read it, trying to find someone to trade it with me, and finally I did. So thank you so much, Adelina, for sending me this book and doing a little trade with me because I'm super, super pumped to have it in my collection. The next book in this haul was sent to me by Simon Teen, so thank you so much to Simon Teen for sending me one of my most anticipated books of the year, and that is Something Like Gravity by Amber Smith. You may have heard me talk about Amber Smith in the past. She has 2 previous books, The Way I Used to Be, which deals with rape, and The Last to Let Go, which talks about sexuality and domestic violence. And now her 3rd novel, Something Like Gravity, has just recently recently come out, and it deals with a trans boy falling in love for the first time. I am so incredibly excited to read this book. I've been so satisfied with the way that Amber Smith has dealt with really serious subject matter in both of her past books, so I have a lot of faith with her that she's going to handle this book with care, as she's definitely writing out of her own experience. I feel we really have a need for more summer romance books that highlight gender and sexual diversity, so I'm very excited to read it, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on it with you guys. Next book in this haul was sent to me unsolicited by Harper Teen, and that is The Exact Opposite of Okay by Laura Steven. This is a debut novel following a girl named Izzy who has always felt like she really knows who she is until she is caught in a compromising position with a politician's son, and suddenly everyone around her that she knows and on the internet has something to say about her. Izzy has always been the person to laugh everything off, but that becomes increasingly difficult when she's at the center of a national scandal. So it just sounds like a super interesting contemporary story about a girl who has to find herself in a time of great adversity, and it definitely sounds like something that's up my alley. And then the final book on this summer book haul is actually my current read. It was sent to me by Penguin Random House, and that is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. So this is like a horror, fantasy, thriller, almost like dystopian book. It takes place at a recluse girls' boarding school that has been quarantined as something called the Tox has spent the last year and a half altering the island and the people on it. I'm only a short way into Wilder Girls right now, but I'm really enjoying it. Number one, I love this writing style so much. It's very unique, and also the characters are very compelling. It's a very diverse cast, as the main character is queer and disabled, and I love the horror, supernatural, almost grotesque aspects of this story. It is nothing like anything I've read recently, and I've just really been enjoying it, so I'm excited to share my final thoughts when I finish it. But that concludes my book haul for everything I got in May and June, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. There are so many books that I got over these last 2 months that I have read or that I'm excited to read, so I hope you enjoyed. In the comments below, I would love to know any of your thoughts on any of the books that I've recently shown, if you've read them or if you are interested in picking them up, or else any new books that you have gotten or read recently that you'd like to share with me. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new one. Bye!